would like to call to order the Tuesday, June 24th, Brooklyn City Board of Education regular meeting. Mr. Shearhart, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Neal?
Here.
Mr. Hubble?
Here.
Ms. Rafter?
Here.
Mr. Hizaruni?
Here.
Ms. Crawl?
Here, please stand for the pledge. I
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we're gonna,
1.3.
yes,
Yep.
so we're gonna make an amendment.
Yeah, I guess I would, so, we have scheduled, I put as a placeholder the resolution for the creation of the 070 Capital Improvement Project account. We do not have, the budget has not been released by the state yet, so my recommendation, Rob and I talked about it, and Rob, jump in if you want on this one, I want to speak for you. I think we should have a conversation in terms of, you know, those two items under board business, the capital project, just have a conversation in general. I don't think we're in a position yet to vote on the resolution in terms of the cap, because we don't really know officially what it's gonna be yet. So I would hate to vote on something and then it's lower or higher than then we'll have to do it again. So my recommendation to the board, and again, just my recommendation, is to just amend table item I apologize.
7.3.
Table 7.3 to the June 30th special board meeting. And then again, and we'll have that final numbers, and we'll be able to update the board as soon as we get that information. And Rob, this week, are we hearing tomorrow potentially?
Yes, the committee met today to kind of hash through what they're finishing up. My understanding is it will be publicly released tomorrow, and it will be given to the governor for him to look over. Again, he has until 6:30 to sign, or as he works his way through, he can do line item vetoes to remove things as well. But it's 6:30 is kind of the drop dead date to do it. If not, then it would basically, the state would basically go into, they can't spend any money because there's no budget in place. So that's where we are right now. There hasn't even been any talk of any changes. If the committee did make any changes.
We just don't know what that final number looks like, and so I want to make sure that we have all the information before there's any type of board consideration. So we'll still discuss today in those, but I'd say that would be my recommendation.
Totally agree. Yeah. Makes sense.
So resolve the Brooklyn Board of Education approve the amended Board of Education agenda for June 24th as recommended by the treasurer and superintendent. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Shearhart, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Hizaruni?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. Rafter?
Yes.
Ms. Crawl?
Yes. We'll move on to public participation. In order for the board to fulfill its obligation to complete the planned agenda in an effective and efficient fashion, a maximum of 30 minutes of public participation as it pertains to school-related topics will be permitted at each meeting. Each person wishing to address the board will approach the podium and state his or her name and address. If several people wish to speak, each person will be allotted 3 minutes until a total time of 30 minutes is used. During that period, no person may speak twice until all who desire to speak have had the opportunity to do so. The period of public participation may be extended by a vote of the majority of the board. Okay. Then we will move on to the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. No specific report other than, happy summer. We're progressing with our various construction projects. Early Childhood Center is on schedule. We've just completed, the turf field is beginning to finally take form. They just actually installed the logo at the center of the field today. so that is looking good. Scoreboard installation should happen sometime mid-July, and just quickly should have final numbers on the rest of the package, the construction package, by the end of July, which Randy and Grant will be at our August 5th Board of Education meeting to go over and discuss and kind of hear. But what I will do is, once I receive those final numbers, I'll make sure the Board of Education gets those ahead of time, start taking a look at generating questions, and then at the August 5th meeting, work session, they'll present those numbers and their process and give the Board of Education a chance to dive into those. But from a construction standpoint, we're progressing with building cleaning. Sandy and the team are doing an amazing job with summer cleaning projects. So we are full go into the summer, getting ready for August. We will have parent information, since this is the last tape before the start of the year. We'll have parent information on start of the school for 25-26 sometime in early August to all of our families. So those will start going out. And just FYI, all of the information for start of the year will be only electronic. We ran into an issue last year with the delivery of the high school information to parents. So don't know what happened with the post office, but we sent something out on like August 1st, and parents didn't receive it till after Labor Day. So we are going to be utilizing Parent Square. We'll get that information out on Facebook, Parent Square, all the other platforms, but the initial start of the year information orientation, all of that will be funneled through Parent Square to start the year, okay? Besides that, have a great summer. I do want to give Councilman Mosley a few minutes to talk about his city initiative that impacts Brooklyn City Schools, and it'll deal with some of our kids participating in some city activities. So I want to give Councilman Mosley a few minutes to discuss. Councilman.
Thank you for having me. I sent everybody this legislation when it passed. Very excited for it. There's a flyer on the back that Mr. Larson sent out with a newsletter. I've already shared the legislation with all of you and Dr. Claris. But first of all, I want to thank you for having me, giving me some time. I didn't have a slideshow or anything, but I do have some notes. So I am a councilman here, Matt Mosley. I live a couple streets away from the high school. I'm also the school board liaison. I am here sometimes I can't make it, and I watch YouTube to fill in. Part of the reason that I created this commission was when I was in high school, I was on a youth advisory board for the city of Cleveland. I was in high school, doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but it was about 15 years now. And there was a recession that happened.
What high school did you go to?
I went to James Ford Rhodes, right down the street. Pretty good football program, I think you guys.
There you go.
Pretty good football program we have down there, I think you guys.
We crossed the
know about
border.
it. But so part of the reason that I moved to Brooklyn was that I had a Chevy Cavalier. When I drove through the city, the streets were plowed. The city of Brooklyn. When I went through Cleveland, it wasn't. So I was always eager to get to Brooklyn. When I was old enough to buy a home and fortunate enough to save up a little bit of money, I bought a home in Brooklyn, and I've been here since 2013. But what I've always wanted to do was create a committee or a commission, it turned out to be a committee, to engage the youth of the city. Because I was probably a little bit of an anomaly watching city council on YouTube and trying to keep up with what's happening in the city. But I wish that I feel like Mike Pence here with the fly. I wish that people would be more engaged, and instead of just hoping that they are, I created this committee with the olive branch to get them involved. Now, I understand that I just can't ask the youth of the city to be engaged and not have something in return. So if you see the last page, there's a flyer that went out on the newsletter. Being in high school, you have to already get community service to graduate. There is a civic engagement seal that you can get on your diploma. I believe you need to double what is required, which is 20. I think you need 40 for that seal. So this can go towards that. In order to get honors diploma, this can go towards work credit. I hope it doesn't feel like work for the kids, but this is something that helps them too. My goals for the commission are, from a city standpoint, we hire a firm and they give us ideas on what they think our park should look like, for example. Residents, which is all of us, have the opportunity to voice our opinions, and sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. So the thing that I vote on is the budget of it. I hope that they listen to my ideas, but a lot of the things come from a firm or director heads, right? So I think that we're doing a disservice if we create a memorial park, which we're doing now, and we don't get the input from the people who live here that are going to use it all the time, right? So this committee, and my goal for it, is for them to proactively give us ideas, and then we use them when we're creating projects like Memorial Park. Like I said, I've been out of high school for 15 years. It's kind of weird saying that, but things change even from when you're a freshman to a senior. That's only 4 years. I had a flip phone in high school. By the time I got out, we had Blackberries, where you could touch the screen. So with that, along those lines, things change in kids' mindsets and things that they think are fun and cool and what they'd like to see for their city. So the idea is to have kids continuously in the committee. Right now, well, when it was passed, it was 14 to 19 age range. Actually, it was on the mayor's podcast, Brooklyn, Ohio, today. And I had somebody reach out, and well, it was her mom, actually, and she was 13. And she's disappointed that she couldn't participate. So actually, just yesterday, we amended it so that you can be 13 and in the committee. This was passed ad hoc, which is kind of in lieu of anticipating something being codified next year, but I don't know what's going to work. So I'm coming to you guys for a couple things. You guys are all connected in the city. I'd love if you have any kids that would possibly be interested in this, whether you coach track, and you got some kids that might be interested in helping their community. They just might want to get a little bit of experience. I don't like using the word politics, it's more local government. So it's not like this side, that side, things they see on TV. So the things that they're going to give me their opinions on are going to affect them a lot faster than the things that they're seeing on TV with their parents. So,
Councilman, maybe what we could do for you is give you an opportunity at some point beginning of the year, get in front of our kids, have a conversation, 5-10 minute, what you just did here, and we'll kind of go from there. But I can definitely facilitate some of that work and conversation with Mr. Larson and our new assistant principal, Mrs. McGee, to get you in front of kids and to kind of do the recruiting for them, so to speak.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the committee will form its own chair, and we can ask them for recommendations, but they can also proactively give recommendations. I don't want to think about it like a final project, but at the end of their term, which will be 9 months, it's lined up with the school year, so it'll end in May. They will write a report that says this is when we met, this was our goals when we started, this is what we did to achieve our goals, and this is where we're at now. They can serve consecutive terms. I think right now it's set 3, but this is all ad hoc, so it's all the first year. If you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Any comments, any advice when I go to codify something in a couple, 12, 15 months or so, I would appreciate any input that you guys do have.
I would recommend governmental classes. Rest of your, I've stopped in that class, and probably a good place to start.
That's actually great. That's probably it, yeah. Are you looking for more junior, senior level, freshman through? Like, what are you looking for from to get it started up and running? Who do you want us to, what are you thinking in terms of that?
I just want 5 people.
You just want 5
I just want,
okay.
if we need 5 to start, and we can have, I think in the legislation's up to 9. But we need 5 to start. Right now, I have 3 or 4, so anybody.
I think social studies class is probably a great
Yeah,
spot.
I mean, that's the ideal one.
Yeah. We'll get you,
Vol-
we'll definitely
volunteers
get
would be great.
Yeah, when are you looking to start, just so I know timelines?
So we passed the amendment by emergency last night because city council's on recess now.
Yep.
We do plan to meet one more time before something else, so it'll get brought up then. But we do, to keep with that schedule, I need to start at the end of August.
Okay. That'll probably be tight, just because kids really do, first day for kids is until August 27th this year.
Okay,
So,
maybe before Labor Day would be.
there you go. I mean, we can
a
get
good
you,
goal.
I can get you in front of kids probably Labor Day time frame, and then you can go from there.
That
Okay?
sounds good.
Very good. Yeah.
When is our thing at the field? The 26th or something?
28th, that Thursday, the 28th.
So the teachers usually have tables or something?
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, that's a good call.
Is it like a?
It's the welcome back
field?
rally. It's the welcome back
Okay.
rally. Yeah.
So if you had like flyers or something.
Yes.
I have a question since I know that you had
Mhm.
reduced the age and stuff like that. And these are minors. Are you requiring any sort of parental consent? Are you the only chaperone? Are you gonna?
So I am the I think in the legislation it says non-voting liaison, so I'm the liaison for it. I haven't talked to anybody that is a minor. I've talked to their parents and I've encouraged all their parents to come, so I would like that because I don't know if I can handle, I'm not a teacher. I don't know if I can handle 9 kids that I don't know, trying to get them corralled and goal-oriented, so if you guys want to have a liaison to that, I would be 1,000% open to
So
that.
we would not, so this is we're providing the avenue to talk to the kids, but this is technically a non-school activity, so we wouldn't require a parental, any type of permission on our standpoint. I guess I go along with Kelly. Very similar. I would recommend at least
Oh, yeah.
having conversations with parents to make sure that they're aware of what's going on. But from a school standpoint, non-school activity.
So, from a committee standpoint, I really want to make it fun. I can't have the kids, come to room 173 all the time and just talk about stuff. So I do want to have some sort of field work, whether it's, a baseball game or a basketball game, and you get together and you get to know the people you're working with, just like you guys get to know each other up here. Other than that, that's pretty much the goal of the committee. If you guys have any questions now, I'd love to answer them. If not, you can email me. I personally, as an elected official, appreciate all you guys serving your community. It's not easy. Sometimes it's thankless. But I do appreciate all you guys, and thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Ms. Kroll, that is my report for this evening.
Okay, we'll move on to Mr. Shearhart and the treasurer's report.
Good evening. I'd like to report that for the month of May, we had $88,216 in interest for the month. That brings our total for the year up to $926,461. We did have our last payment from the county from the state for levy income, and that was the 10% and 2.5% homestead rollback payment. So that is in, and that is final. For the bond, for the month of May, we received $86,014 for interest on the bond. And the market value to date has increased on that to $524,000. So that's roughly how much we made, and the investments have increased in value since it was started back in October. It was when we put the money in. So that's rolling along really good. As far as expenses, personnel and benefits are running right aligned with where they should be. Compared to the expenses compared to the budget, we are at 83.2% at the end of May, so that's good. And that's my report.
Thank you. We'll move on to board committee reports. We'll start with Allison.
Thanks, Kelly. I do not have any committee reports of the committees that I'm on right now, but I do have some announcements. The Brooklyn Hall of Fame Committee, which I am a part of, will be announcing this week the 2025 inductees. These inductees will be honored at our Hall of Fame ceremony on Thursday, September 11th, and then again at the halftime of the football game on Friday, September 12th. Brooklyn Athletic Boosters will not be meeting next month. They will wait until August to meet again. Upcoming alumni games, we have boys soccer, which is this Saturday, June 28th, from 9 to 11, right outside our stadium in the grass field. If there's any Brooklyn boys soccer player, alumni that's interested, please contact Johnny Grigson. The girls soccer alumni game will be Saturday, August 2nd at 11 a.m. You need to RSVP to Coach Blaine by July 7th, 25, so she can order you a t-shirt, as well as if you will be attending.
That may be the first game on the field.
We're hoping. Volleyball is Saturday, August 11th at 11 a.m. Please RSVP to Coach Hall by 7/18/25. The annual fall sports fundraiser will be Saturday, September 6th from 6 to 9 at Rookie Sports Bar and Grill. And if you are interested in going and want tickets, please contact Mark Zafka. And the last two things are post-prom for 2026-27 fundraisers. There will be a car wash on Saturday, August 9th from 11 till 2 at the high school. And there will be another fundraiser September 19th and 20th, which is a Friday and Saturday, Kalahari Nights. You can get, I believe it's a room with 2 queen beds and 4 water park passes for $159 on Friday, $169 on Saturday, and portions of that fee will go to post-prom. And that is my report.
Thank you. Rob?
Thank you. Want to talk about a couple things. I wasn't here for the June 3rd meeting, so congratulations to all the graduates and the teachers for their year. Hope you enjoy the summer. We've got a heat wave going on, so stay cool.
Monsoon last week.
Yeah,
heat wave
right,
this-
exactly. We had the Chamber of Commerce and the Brooklyn Athletics Department teamed up for a golf outing that we had on June 12th. It was a pretty successful one for our first one. We were able to split $5,400 for the day, which was fantastic. And I want to thank all the golfers that showed up. It was actually a really, I don't golf, but I was just chilling and it was fun and it was just a really good event. I want to definitely shout out to Mark Zafka and Kelly Supek for their tireless efforts to get this going. They did a fantastic job, and I really, really appreciate all they did, and everybody that was there, and all the admin that showed up to help support as well. July 31st, the Chamber of Commerce is having our second annual mini golf at Kitty Park. It's $20 per person. It includes a round of mini golf, a hot dog, chips, and some ice cream. So if you can make that, go on the Chamber's Facebook webpage and you can sign up for that.
What day is that?
July 31st, I believe it's a
Last year.
Yep.
That's right.
That's what
It's
we're using the
fun.
sign.
That's right.
again.
That's
Yeah.
Every day that it's July 31st, we're using that sign over and over again.
Same size.
That's right.
Save the money. All right. Today we had a core meeting with the updates on the renovations, and the school districts have been posting all the updates, seeing the new field, the early childhood center, the gym. It was scary seeing it without a ceiling, but it's really exciting to see everything, and everything's moving on schedule. So we're very excited that everybody that's involved in that is doing a good job of keeping everything on schedule. So it was a great meeting today to hear all the updates. And then the Chamber of Commerce is hosting Brooklyn's first time in a long time home days, September 27th and 28th. We're going to have, the first day is going to be games, magicians, concerts. We have 4 different performers coming. We're having Lebanese belly dancing, and Depke is going to be there. We have, what was the Becky Boyd will be singing for us. I think we're working on a polka band. We're going to have 8 food trucks. It's going to be a really, really exciting event. I want to thank
Vendors.
Vendors, craft vendors. She will be there with her table. bye from Kelly. Really, I want to thank Dr. Clares and the school district for allowing us to use the stadium. We're really excited. We're going to trample all over the new field. Very excited to christen that with a lot of people
New
there.
scoreboard,
Yeah, new
making
scoreboard.
announcements on the score.
It's going to be awesome.
Right?
So
right?
September 27th to 28th, free for everybody, and then we're having the car show as well on that day, on the 27th. So on the 27th, yeah. So just save that date, and please, if you're able to make it, and the 28th, yeah.
What's happening the 28th?
Oh, I should talk about that. The big band show is on the 28th. So how many bands we got? 5.
I thought it was more. I thought it was
Is it
like
more?
12 to 8 or something.
All day, from
All day.
11 to 8 is going to be bands. It's going to be the big band show. There's going to be a bunch of bands playing.
Every hour on the hour.
Every hour on the hour. I know that they've done that a couple times in the past at Memorial Park, but since that's under construction, we asked them to be a part of it with us and make it a 2-day home days, and that's what we're doing. So very excited about that.
Do you need us to contact Brooklyn Police for auxiliaries and things like that? Maybe you and maybe what before.
I reached out to Chief Melky already, but
Perfect, okay.
we'll touch base and make sure
That's fine.
we're all on the
Maybe
same
after
page.
July 4th holiday, we get together and chat a little bit.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay.
Good
Great.
stuff. Oh, and there's a parade that starts at 12 o'clock on that Saturday, starting here at the high school, going down
Stadium.
Bidoff to Rodone to kick us off. So it's going to be an exciting weekend. We're really excited. So we're going to check it out, see how that works. And
Thank you, boys and alumni.
yes, she is.
Yes,
Yes, she is. All right. Thank you, and that's my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jake Holmes.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Allison and Karim went over all the really good things going on in Brooklyn. I have not had any committee meetings as kind of everything's winded down. The rec board does not meet again until September. So I'm just going to wish everybody a great summer. Stay cool, have fun, be safe, and that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Wow, nice report.
And thank you, Mr. Councilman Mosley.
There you go.
Rocky.
First off, I'd like to thank the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, the athletics department for the golf outing. I was there, donated my money, and didn't golf well, but I had a good time. Here's what I would, knowing a lot of the older alumni, they just said, hey, I just heard about this. Hey, I just heard about this. And I said, well, it's the first time through, so next year it'll be bigger and better. So a lot of the alumni heard through whatever, this email that, so we just need to update that, and I think you guys will do that. So we're good there. So it was a nice time, and I think after Ridgewood's done with the clubhouse, that's gonna be a beautiful place.
Put it on a Friday so I can go.
Yep, that's the plan for next year.
So, anyway, good job on
Quick
that.
question.
Go.
One of the so when Crom and I were talking about this with Mark, one of the reasons we kind of, Thursday's a different reason, but beginning of summer before staff and everybody get, do you like the time frame of that right after school lets out? Or do you think we would get more folks later in June or even in July? What do you, I'm just looking for input, that's all.
You might get some a little later because I feel like, especially students and staff, a lot of people go on vacation right as school lets out. So if you kind of give them
Maybe another week
a
or so.
couple weeks
Okay.
to come back from vacation, maybe.
Okay.
Because the FOP one is always in September, so I would make sure there's enough time in between.
So in June,
Yeah.
I thought June was good.
Yeah.
I mean, hit or miss with the
So,
weather,
like,
obviously.
later, just-
Maybe later June,
Okay.
just to get people back.
Yeah, and on a Friday. That's in the works.
On a Friday
Yeah.
or a Saturday.
And that clubhouse will be done, and that's gonna be a nice place too, so.
Okay.
Anyway, so I
Thank
just
you for the
congratulate, everybody did the hard work, I know that's a lot of work there, so good job on that. My technology report, I don't have one, I will update as soon as I can get to David and Dr. Claire's gonna get together. The players report, I guys emailed you all that,
Thank you for
both of
that.
you went through it. If you go through there, there's a spreadsheet that breaks down a lot of the credentials that kids earn and all that stuff, so there's a lot of good information in there as well. There's a lot of good things going on there. There's donations for, like here's a $10,000 donation to the welding, $50,000 to the machine shop. There's a lot of good things, and I think it's a wonderful place to be. What they did see, if you guys look through your information here that they had an 80s, I think it's like 87% of the kids, they took a survey of the 537 kids, 87% of those kids either rated it a 4 or a 5. And actually 97% of the kids are either 3, 4, or 5. So I think it's all going in the right direction. There's a lot of good things. The automation, electronics, and robotics should be done right after the first of the year. There'll be I think I mentioned that March 6th, I think there's a grand opening, ribbon cutting. I think Jim Tressel will be there. So that, he's invited, so we'll see. A lot of good things going on in there. And then from a personal standpoint, you know me and trying to recruit football officials for that. Polaris, we just voted on starting a bunch of adult education sports officials classes. The first one is July 22nd, 23rd, 29th, and 31st for football. So if you want to become a football official, be more than happy to help you out doing that. It's OHSA certified, it costs $65. Then you do have to get some uniform stuff. But we can get your money made back in a weekend, so.
Podcast? You on a podcast
Yeah, and I was on a podcast.
What's the name of that podcast we did? Hurricane Watch.
The Hurricane Watch with Dr. Polaris. So all sports, the game plan at Polaris is we're gonna do football this time, then basketball probably in 2 months in the fall, and then baseball in the spring, because as everybody knows, we need new officials. Some of those older guys are getting old. Pick me. So anyway, that's what we got going on. So if you have any interest, you want to get a hold of me, I'll be more than glad to help you. You can also look on Polaris' website, it's up there as well too. So that's the end of my report, appreciate it.
Thank you. I don't have a report, but I want to say that City of Brooklyn's been a little rowdy lately, so kudos to the Brooklyn Police Department and the EMS and the fire, especially today, keeping everybody safe and calm and just doing a great job as always.
Yep.
So we will move on to the treasurer's consent agenda. Mr. Shearhart.
Be resolved that the minutes of the Board of Education meeting be adopted and all action taken by the Board of Education at said meeting is hereby reaffirmed and approved. That will be the minutes for the May 20th meeting, the May 27th, and the June 3rd. Next is 4.2. Be it resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the financial statements of receipts and expenditures for the month of May 2025, including all purchase orders paid and all then and now statements for the month as submitted. And 4.3 is the approval of the consent agenda.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Mr. Karan wasn't here on the 3rd, so you could abstain. I'm not telling you what to do.
No,
You said that would. All right.
planning on it, because I
All
wasn't
right,
here.
cool.
But thank you.
All right, you got it.
You did second, though,
I did second.
right? Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Shearhart, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Israani?
Abstain.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. Rafter?
Yes.
Ms. Crawl?
Yes. And then on to the superintendent's consent agenda.
Item 5.1, resolution to approve the first reading of policies and the deletion of 2 policies. Real quick explanation, deleting those 2 policies because we did that way back when we, probably 2020, 2021, somewhere around there, when we transitioned with new treasurers and new staff in that office, and now we include job descriptions in administrative or exempt contract approvals. So the reason for those deletions, I was just looking one day and I saw those 2 policies in there, so we've updated them since then. Item 5.2, resolution to approve student commendations of honor merit roll for 4th quarter, top 10% and diploma with honors. That should say 2025. I apologize for that. Top 10%. Item 5.3, resolution to approve both student handbooks at the Brooklyn School and Brooklyn High School. Item 5.4, resolution to approve student fees for the 25-26 school year. Item 5.5, resolution to approve classified job descriptions. These are new positions that have been approved with the new collective bargaining agreement. So these are just updated regarding the new positions. And then item 5.6 is the approval of the consent agenda.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Shearhart, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Israani?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. Rafter?
Yes.
Ms. Crawl?
Yes.
Item 6.1, this is the superintendent's consent agenda for personnel. Resolution to approve classified reassignments. We've had some shuffling with new positions of classified staff moving from one position to another. Item 6.2, resolution to improve the employment of classified personnel, custodian maintenance to 25-26 school year. Item 6.3, resolution to approve classified staff employment for 25-26 school year. So this long list is what we approve for all of our classified staff for the entire 25-26 school year. I will tell you, we will definitely have some readjustments in some staff hours come August. Sandy has to bid out cleaning positions and food service positions. So we may have some adjustment of hours depending on those bid, but what we wanted to do is we wanted to at least initially approve our staff so that Matt Tolar and Rob can get out their salary notices before July 1. So maybe some tweaks on transportation. So you'll see some adjustment, but that's just based on bidding and some student needs with transportation. Item 6.4, thank you. Approval of resolution to approve summer enrichment program personnel. We had some switching, late switching, so we had to reapprove Kevin and Chelsea based on that switching of duties. Item 6.5, resolution to approve certified employment Title I tutor. And this is a replacement. Item 6.6, resolution to approve a supplemental assignment summer 2025. This is for Kelly and for Susie. They came in later in June and did the food pantry for our families in June. So we wanted to make sure that they were compensated for those few hours they did that. And then item 6.7 is the approval of the personnel consent agenda.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Shearhart, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Israani?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. Rafter?
Yes.
Ms. Crawl?
Yes. Okay, on to board business. The proposed Ohio State biennium budget. Mr. Shearhart?
I had sent yesterday to the board the summary of, it's actually a comparison between the House bill, the Senate version, and the governor's version. The governor's version was pretty straightforward. He was continuing with the fair school funding. When that got to the House reduced it. They're actually trying to totally get rid of it. Where the Senate has brought it back and has increased it. So that's the fair school funding. The big issue is going to be the carryover cap. The House put out a 30% cap. The Senate came back with a 50, and as we talked about earlier, currently it is sitting with the committee. They were supposed to have a meeting between, I believe, the House and the Senate to discuss what the committee came up with. That is going to be turned over to the governor tomorrow, and then I believe it's supposed to be made public as well tomorrow. So we may have some kind of an idea, at least what the committee came up with. Again, the governor has until June 30th to either line item veto and sign, or sign it as basically amended by the House and the Senate. So we're kind of waiting to find out what's going to happen with that piece. I did also include some of the possible numbers on how how it could affect Brooklyn. One of the things that the House and the Senate came up with is they basically just picked a number, which is the 30 or the 50%. There hasn't been any formal detail on what to use to apply that number to. So from talking to other treasurers, some are saying that they're going to use it's the fiscal year 24 expenditures applied to that percentage. Then that amount is going to be subtracted from whatever your carryover cash balance was. The problem is we have two different fiscal years we're working with, so we don't know if the intent is to use the fiscal 24 numbers or the fiscal 25 numbers, or a combination of both. So it would be the fiscal year expenditures, but we don't know if they're using the actuals from 2024 or if they're using the estimated from 2025 to come up with that, with those numbers. And the same goes to the reserve. We don't know if they're going to base it off of the 24 reserve or the 25 reserve. So it's really a moving target, and it's hard to tell where we're going to, how I want to say bad, but how bad it's going to hurt us. And again, going back, the governor could line item veto it, and we may not have to worry about it at all. It's not just Brooklyn, it's every school district in the state is in the same position. We're all wondering what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. Anything that's done would not actually come into effect until after January 1st. So we will have the hard numbers for fiscal year 25 by then. So it just really depends on what's going to be in the legislation. And again, we won't know that until any time before the June 30th, hopefully. The other piece of legislation that has come up is House Bill 335. That they are looking at, the introduction with that would be to remove the inside millage from school districts, cities, and counties. The inside millage is a flat 10 mils, and what it is divided by each of those, the city, the county, and the school district. It's put in place by law. I think originally, way back when it was originally enacted, was how the school districts and cities and counties were funded through the taxpayers. Since then, they've added on levies and things like that to increase the amount that each of those raise. It's really it really goes to the point of where the legislation is really trying to hit. So another piece that's in 335 is they want to eliminate emergency levies. So we have three emergency levies. If the legislation were to be approved, and it hasn't gone to the Senate, it's only with the House, when an emergency levy comes up for renewal, you would have to let it drop off and then run it as a new levy. That's not very good. So there's different things with 335. Now there's been a little bit of talk where, because of the effect, and it's affecting every city, every county, every school district, they don't think that it's really going to get any support. So they don't think it's really going to go anywhere. But I just wanted to let you know that it is out there. It's been proposed. At this point, it hasn't, I think they're too wrapped up with House Bill 96, the budget bill, to even do anything with it at this point. But it could be on the horizon. So just to let you know. But I think one of the things that Dr. Claris talked about earlier was the resolution for the 070 fund. I think that's an important piece that we do need to do. We do have a list of capital projects that we do need to complete. So once that fund is created, the money would be put into there in order to cover the cost of those projects. One of the benefits of the 070 fund is that down the line, if we need to move the money back to the general fund, we can do that. Where the 003 fund, or permanent improvement fund, once that money is, actually any other fund, once the money is transferred out, it's gone, it cannot come back to the general fund. So that is one of the good pieces that's in place that we can take advantage of.
Just clarity, with regards to the 070, if that capital improvement account is created and whatever amount of money in there, I provided the board a list of potential projects. Obviously, there are some that reach to the top of the list than others, but I guess my big ask would be to engage the board in a conversation looking to how you would like me to prioritize those projects. For me personally, the first one we need to address, if this happens, would be the HVAC piece, boilers at the high school. That's going to be a definite need. Beyond that, I think I would like to engage the board in that list, in that conversation, but I also look for your input on whatever amount of money that we're required to put in there, if we're required, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen yet. I think the piece is how are we going to spend that facility money as a district, right? We've earmarked specific projects for the bond issue, right? Whatever that may be, we've already decided that the same process would happen again. Okay, we have X amount of dollars in this 070 account. How would the board like us to allocate for the improvement of those facilities? So just from a clarity standpoint, I provided the list as kind of a starting point. Obviously, I need to engage all of you in terms of what does that look like. We would do that at a work session, kind of go from there. I think one of the things, we don't know yet, one of the pieces we're hearing with, if school districts earmark money into these capital improvement accounts, you have, right now it's at 3 or 4 years to spend that money. Or if it's not spent, it goes back into general fund and is applied to that cap. So being mindful that, okay, we want to pick these projects, but we also got to make sure that we're able to complete them in a timely fashion on top of all the other areas that are being worked in simultaneously. So potentially, a busy next 3 years, but just clarity. I'm going to engage the board in the conversation to prioritize what that looks like. You have the list. I think I provided it kind of general. They're not ranked specifically. My only priority right now would be that HVAC boiler system at the high school. And that's going to happen regardless of we're creating this account or not, right? That's going to be part of our permanent improvement plan. But that, for me, rises to the top just because of just the need. I've engaged AVG already in a conversation to develop a HVAC ventilation plan at the high school. Whether that happens over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever that is, we're starting that process. So just wanted to be clear with those projects, okay? Thanks, Rob.
Any questions?
We're capped at 3 years for any improvement.
Well, right now, that's what they're saying, correct? I mean, but who knows? Everything's so up in the middle. They may change. They may go back to 30%. We just don't know right now. I think the House came back at 30%, right? The first part with you can't do anything with that money, right? They said anything over 30%, right? You got to give back to. That goes back into. You're going to lose that revenue in the future, right? So for us, we're at 73.2%. So House version, we would lose that 43.2% of revenue in future collections. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, on the future collection piece. They're not going to say, hey, give me 43%. They're just going to say, hey, you're not going to get this amount of money. And it's in basically a one-time hit, right? 1 or 2 year hit. Senate came back said, hey, you can have 50%, we're gonna give you the 50% cash balance. So now we go from, so now we're at 23.2% of kind of that where we're at. But you're also able to allocate money for facility projects to make sure you're underneath that 50% cap, right? And so who knows what they've decided once, so, you know, House and Senate are now having conversations in terms of what that look like. And to be honest with you, the governor could say, line item veto it, and it's not even an issue for us. We just don't know. My biggest, and this is just my, I'm gonna have a little bit of a, you know, on my soapbox here. You know, our district has been fiscally responsible over the last 5 to 7 years, right? We haven't had new money since when, Rock, 18?
Yeah.
Something like that, 18 or 19. We've been fiscally responsible, and we've done a great job with right-sizing and with making sure, you know, we've been fiscally responsible, so we've been able to build up that reserve. And so with this cap, it basically, they're penalizing for us for having that. I don't like calling it a rainy day fund, but that's just the easiest explanation for us. And for whatever reason they're doing, I don't know. I'll be honest with you, if I had the two choices, I would rather have the Senate version, so that at least we can take that general fund money and invest it back into our school district. We obviously need these projects happening anyway, and so if they're gonna force us to do it, I would rather do it that way. My big problem with forcing our hand in terms of allocating that money is that it changes Rob's 5-year forecast, and our financial picture becomes different than it was when you approved it in May, right? So that's the challenge I think we have to really look at. And again, it's going to allocate X amount of dollars towards facilities where we've now allocated that money for operational salaries and supplies and just the running of the district. And I will tell you, I'll just use another school district our size, close to us. They're at 97% over the cap. They're at 97%. So they're looking at creating an 070 account for almost $12 million to avoid. So there are other districts, very similar to ours, and it ranges between 50 and some are under the cap, right? And so I don't. We'll see what they tell us in the next couple days. It's frustrating from my standpoint because I think we've done a great job in being responsible fiscally. I really do, and I think our community deserves that. And we're still going to be fiscally responsible, but I think it'll change the forecasted picture for our district and what that looks like.
Doesn't this one also where it fluctuates our property tax every 6 months or something like that because the numbers keep changing?
That's what I was going to say. Another way that we're being penalized is, if you remember, we received $3.5 million in ESSER funds from the federal government for COVID. And by using those funds, that actually built up our general fund, our operating fund, by $3.5 million because we used that grant. So, in a way, they're kind of penalizing us for receiving the federal money. Yes, one of the things is once we hit that floor, when we drop below it, and when we're at the floor, one of the things, because the district, we don't have a PI levy, we have to move, by law, I have to move $250,000 every year into the PI fund for updating the buildings and things. The problem is when we're at that, the minute I do that transfer and move it, we drop below the 50% or whatever that floor is. I can't call up the county and say, you gotta bump me back up. So in the long run, when that happens, somebody's breaking the law because the law says I'm supposed to be at that floor, and by following law and moving money out, now I'm below it, so I'm breaking the law. I'm not, technically the county would be. The other piece is that as we spend and it drops down below that floor, it has to be kicked back up at some point. So now, all the taxpayers and the businesses that are paying the levies, they know pretty close from year to year at what they're gonna pay. With this, if we dip down, all of a sudden the next year, it may pay a couple $100, and the next year it may jump up to $1,500. So this is kind of what it's gonna look like for the taxpayers and the businesses, because, you know, it's kind of the nature of the beast on what the legislature is doing. We don't have any control. And my concern is when somebody's real estate taxes spike, they're gonna call the county, and the county's gonna, it's the school I had to raise it because of the school. So we're gonna be the point of contention, because people are gonna think we're causing it, and we're not really causing it. It's the law that's put in place that the county auditors have to follow. We're just kind of getting dragged along for the ride. We have no say in anything. We got to do what they put in, and we get the money we get in the long run. We, based on the May 5-year forecast, we were looking at, and it's not that it's really this big of a deal, but we're looking at about between 100 and 150,000 in deficit spending in 2027. Through good spending, not good spending, but proper spending, we could probably push that out to 28. But I think by 28, we will hit deficit spending. Once we hit the deficit spending, that's where we start drawing on the reserve. So by them bringing the reserve down, that means we deficit spend, which means we have less in the reserve. As we eat that away, now we have to go for new money before we really would have needed to, because we had that reserve that would carry us for years. So it's not, it's financially, it's not healthy what they want to do. It's not. It's not prudent. And I am not sure why they're doing it. And I think in the long run, the ones that are going to pay are going to be the kids and the taxpayers, because there's probably going to be wild swings from lower taxes to higher taxes. Nobody's going to know what's going on, and they are giving the County Budget Commission in the Senate bill more authority to make decisions on how it's going to be done and what they can do. So basically with this legislation, even if your community says yes and votes the levy in and wants the schools to have the money, the legislature is basically doing an end around run and taking that away from the taxpayers and making that decision for them. So you're kind of losing your voice with what they want to do here.
You have some, and obviously some school districts are multi-city or multi-county.
Mhm.
So, you know, like, I'll just use Berea, you know, Middleburg Heights, Brook Park, and Berea, right? Or you look at some of our rural schools in Ohio, multi-county, Medina, you know, like, so I think, and again, I'll go back to my initial thought is the legislature is looking for tax relief for homeowners, which is a positive thing, right? That's not a bad thing, but I think that they're just kind of trying to hit the easy button on this one. And the easiest way to do this is looking at now as schools. The other piece with House Bill 335, if it goes through, it's also an impact on the city of Brooklyn. And I know Brooklyn passed, the city council passed a resolution in opposition, correct, Matt? Yeah. But if 335 goes through as is, Brooklyn City Schools would lose $1.9 million annually on top of the cap piece. City of Brooklyn, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of what, $1.6 million annually. So this is a multifaceted problem that I think they're just trying to get that immediate, hit the easy button. But I think it's going to cause a lot more issues down the road. But obviously, my concern is the impact on Brooklyn City Schools, and so kind of wait and see what that looks like, and kind of move to. Now, I would say too, if we get any type of like time. One of the reasons for the conversation now is the concern that we have to have something in place with the 070 account by the end of this fiscal year, which is Monday, June 30th. If we get news that we have a little bit of relief, and let's just use an example, we don't have to have, this will start July 1, 2026, right? Then I think we pull that off of the agenda on Monday, pause, we don't have to react. Part of it is I want to make sure that we're safe and we hit the legal requirements before that law takes in place. So the law starts effective July 1, and they don't give us any type of grace period, then I think we would need to act. I would recommend that we act. If we have a little bit of grace period, I'd say let's pause, hold off, have further conversation in terms of what that looks like. But that's kind of the reason for the quick resolution, to make sure we meet the timeline before the law goes into effect on July 1.
Rob, walk me through this. If Governor DeWine, line item vetoes, everything's great, and keep moving on. If somehow they go with a 30%, what does that look like money-wise, opening up the 070, 50%, what does that look like money-wise, opening up the 070?
Well, and again, it's because they haven't given us detail on how that's going to be calculated, it's really kind of a moving target too. Based on if we're looking at the FY24 expenditures, which is the amount that we paid out of the general fund, that's roughly about 19 million. So if we apply that to the FY25 estimated cash reserve, which right now is about 19 million, at 50%, we could be looking at about 9 million. Even worse would be if we were looking at 30%, it could be about 13 million, because it's based on the 9 million carryover. And again, that's really rough, because we don't have anything set in stone from the legislature on how we're supposed to calculate. But right now, that's based on those two numbers, that's what it would be.
Rob, do we have to move all of that money at once, or can you allocate money over to, so like, for example, I'm asking,
You
like,
want to move it at once.
you want to move it at once?
Depending on when it would go into effect, and since it's part of the biennium budget, I'm assuming the whole piece would go July 1st, because the state can't spend any money if it's not dated July 1st.
Okay.
I don't know if he has the authority to split things out and give different timeframes as far as when they're approved. I think he approves it, either everything or whatever line item vetoes.
And so from a time standpoint, whatever that money amount is, if the board acts in a resolution, and let's just say it goes in effect July 1, 2025, moving it on June 30th meets your obligation from a treasurer's standpoint to do that?
Yes, because it's physically impossible for me to close the fiscal year on July 1st. So it could go on for a week or a week and a half in order for me to get everything straight, closed out, and done.
So as long as we have that official resolution?
As long as the board approves it on the 30th, then it's dated the 30th.
Okay.
The money would be moved on the 30th.
Okay.
So, yes.
Rob, when will we have a better idea of the actual calculation of what that's gonna look like? Are we assuming once we know the details?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, when that's gonna happen, because that's probably not in the budget. It's just that percentage.
Yeah.
So once we have that percentage, I can calculate it the 3 different ways.
And you'll be able to part of the reason is I want to be able to speak intelligently to that also. You'll be able to show me that calculation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And there shouldn't be that much of a difference between the 3.
Okay.
If there is, it could be because our carryover balance from '24 was less than what it's estimated to be in '25.
So you're thinking you'll be looking at using actual 2024 actual 2025.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and the other piece of that is if it goes into effect, it would be based on the tax year, not our fiscal year. So it would be based on January 1st. So they would have the hard number, January 1st of '26. That's the new tax year.
Isn't our 5-year forecast based on fiscal years, not calendar year?
Yes,
Okay.
but I'm talking about when they're gonna look at
Oh, I got you.
when that would start.
Okay.
Because,
But we should know our actual
By-
2025 by end of January, early August.
oh, yeah,
Okay.
even before that.
Okay, all right.
But if they're refunding, that refund wouldn't happen until the
Yeah,
January
no, I got you.
bills,
Okay.
because that's the new tax year.
So once we get more information from what they decide on is how we can start moving forward with a decision of some sort.
Yeah.
So if they decide to pull out that moving to capital improvement pieces, then we'll be stuck with whatever numbers they tell us and won't have any option to move it into any type of capital improvement account. We're hoping, I guess I'm hoping they at least give us that, at least the flexibility to do that. But like I said, the House didn't have that option, the Senate did.
But I don't know that that's gonna matter because 070 was in place before any of this.
Sure.
So we might be able to move to the 070 anyways,
Oh,
whether it's in House bill or not, in the House,
There you
in the House version. Because 070 it's been around for years.
okay,
So
all right,
that might not matter.
okay.
I think this is my 17th year, maybe, or whatever number. It's probably the 4th different time I've had this type of conversation with, it's bizarre.
What'll be interesting is, depending on what happens in the next the next week, we'll deal with it because we have to, but it'll be interesting to see the next biennial budget to what they're gonna do at that time. Because if they're this focused and crazy, basically, I don't know what to expect for the next biennial budget. I don't know what else they can attack, what they can do. I really don't.
What year that'll be, 28? And I'll be gone.
I may be too.
One more year.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bizarre.
That's crazy.
Kelly, I'll have 7.1 again as an agenda item for Monday, just so we can finalize the conversation and so we can give you the facts of where everything's at.
Okay.
We have two.
Anything else on 7.1 or can we move on?
I think we talked 7.2 already too,
Yeah.
so you were,
Okay.
I think we're good on that one. Like I said, those are just, I wanted to have at least a public documentation that we are thinking about outside capital improvement projects. Just as a reminder too, we also have the AVG did our facility assessment, so we have that data, we know what needs to be done. I think if and when the board decides on which projects to do, then I will go forward with AVG to say, hey, here are the priorities, here's the amount of money, and then they'll start putting actual numbers and plans to it, and we'll kind of go from there. So, like I said, I think if and when, we should probably have some firm resolution numbers early fall, mid-fall, what that looks like for us, especially if we're on that 3-year timeline.
All right, then we'll move on to, is there any other business?
I don't know if this is related to 8.2, but I have a question. So originally, the special meeting for Monday was only one agenda item. Now with this agenda item, I would like to be there, but the time is very bad for me at that time. So I wanted to know if the board was open to meeting way earlier in the day regarding this. Sorry?
Just say we could meet on Sunday if you want to. I know it's Sunday, but I'm just saying, I'm just giving ideas.
And I have not announced it yet because I didn't know what we were gonna, I wasn't sure what was gonna be
So we had originally talked about 5, now it's 6:15. There was talk about 5
Yeah,
o'clock?
it was supposed to be 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 5. I saw that in the email.
included.
Are you guys okay with early Sunday morning, early Monday morning? Or is this, if not, I will make other arrangements, but I wasn't aware of the meeting, I would have that discussion earlier, but it's up to you guys.
I cannot do it on Sunday.
Okay.
I can't do Monday morning.
Okay. We'll stick with 5 o'clock and I'll make it work. What's that?
I could do either.
Okay. We'll stick with 5 o'clock.
Well, and the other item is I'll have the insurance on the June 30th agenda, and then the final fiscal year 25 appropriations, and then the fiscal year 26 appropriations for approval. Those will be done.
Just, do you want to consider Saturday or Friday or Saturday? I'm just talking out loud, like I'll meet whenever you guys want to meet. I'm just giving you options.
The
that's
only
all.
issue is if are they on a deadline to release the stuff by tomorrow, or?
We'll have it tomorrow.
We'll have it tomorrow?
Tomorrow, Thursday morning, yeah, we'll have it.
Okay.
Rob, you think so?
I'm open to Friday.
It depends on the government and when they make it public. Like I said today, they had the meeting at 3 o'clock. I hadn't heard anything, since then.
Same thing.
So I
Nothing's in my email.
I know they said it was going to the governor tomorrow, and I thought they said it was gonna be released publicly tomorrow, but I don't know for sure if that's gonna actually happen.
Well, let's not make it difficult. Monday, 5 o'clock's fine. We'll do that.
Monday at 5?
Okay.
Yep.
You don't want to do Saturday morning?
I'm open Saturday morning, but again, I don't want to make it difficult for everybody.
I can be here Saturday morning. I'm flexible all of them.
With this conversation, you were looking at, max 30, 45 minutes, I would think. The agenda items are pretty, I'm gonna get you the information on the recommended principal candidate in the next day or so. So you'll have that information and resume to look at ahead of time. I've already talked to you about potential, salary and benefits, those types of things with that candidate. Like I said, I'm flexible to meet the needs, whatever you guys want to do.
You good with cartoons? You should be done by Saturday morning,
I
right?
could do Saturday morning.
If you do Saturday, I won't be there.
What was that,
I
Kelsey?
said if you do Saturday, I won't.
Let's do it Monday, 5 o'clock. We'll make it
All right.
work.
Okay.
We'll do Monday, 5
Thank
o'clock.
you for working it out. I
Sorry,
appreciate
buddy.
it.
All right, I'll announce it tomorrow.
We need the president though.
So we're saying the announcement of the special meeting is Monday, June 30th in the treasurer's office conference room at 5 o'clock PM.
Yes.
Okay. And then the announcement of the next regular meeting of the Board of Education is Tuesday, July 15th in the treasurer's office conference room at 6:15 PM.
Correct.
Then can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Shearhart, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Neal,
Yes.
Mr. Ezra,
Yes.
Mr. Hubble,
Yes.
Ms. Radford,
Yes.
Ms. Crawford.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I gotta stop.